Happy 2024, everybody. This is Kelly Cook here with Everything Live. And we are just that. We are live on our channel that is Monday at lunchtime. You're having some lunch. Hopefully, you get the push notification. You're going to tune into all the news that has to do with everything Phoenix, from development to the housing market, the commercial real estate, the overall Phoenix economy, and how it all plays a role in your possibly everyday life. If you're living here already, or maybe if you're thinking of moving to Phoenix, either way, we would love that opportunity to have that conversation with you and help your current situation because every situation is different. It's a case by case basis, and we treat every client as such. So, that being said, we're going to dive in. It is 2024. It's our first show because the last one was on a holiday, New Year's Day. And so we are now going to talk about what were the top business articles and topics that we saw in the Phoenix area for 2023. We're going to recap that because a lot of those are spillover into 2024. And then we are going to actually go over top 5 predictions for the housing market in 2024 for Phoenix. So you don't want to miss this. It's going to be good. We're going to cover all of that and more. What's going on with pricing, where we at with interest rates, and some development of some projects that are happening here in the Phoenix area, guys. And it's all exciting stuff. I'm telling you, Phoenix is poised over the next 5 to 10 years to make a huge run. Now, a lot of us will sit there and go, well, hold on. We've already had a little bit of a run, haven't we? Over the last several years, especially post-COVID? And the answer is yes, we have. And I'm just telling you right now, Phoenix is going to run further. Right now, there could always be anything that comes up, right? You never know what could come up in the future that we can't see right now. But if I'm looking at my crystal ball, based on what we know today, Phoenix is going to have a run, guys. It is one of the cities in the United States that's going to be poised to have a great economy and make a run with exploding population growth and job growth primarily, which is going to help that population growth. And with the baby boomers retiring and the silver tsunami, if you will, we're going to even see more of it, guys. I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen. So prepare yourself. What can you do knowing that it's a very high probability that's going to happen? Now, it's going to happen in probably some other cities too across America. Let's be clear about that. Phoenix will not be the only one, obviously, but it's going to be one of those select few that does do very well. And so right now, I think we're going to cover some of those things to talk about. Now, again, the question remains: how can you prepare yourself? How can you, position yourself? Right? There's these certain periods of time throughout someone's life. I heard a long time ago that there's everyone only has about 3 to maybe 4 big opportunities in their cycle of their life. If the average life is going to run into the 80s, let's say, to take advantage of some economic conditions to really capitalize monetarily, financially. And they said a lot of times 1 to 2 of those are going to take place in your formative years, right? It's going to take place between the age of 0 and maybe your college years, probably 2 of them. And so if you take those 2 out, because you may not be in position at that young of an age to take advantage of that, you really have another 2. And the fourth one could be potentially when you're maybe going into retirement, right? And so you could narrow this down and say you have 1, maybe 2 opportunities to take a run at some of these things. And I think this is going to be one of them in the next 5 to 10 years, living in Phoenix, or even if you don't live in Phoenix, investing in Phoenix or moving down to Phoenix. And I think there's a lot of indicators towards that. We're going to cover some of those today. So let's jump right in and get that party started. Here we go. So let's look at the housing market really quick here. We won't spend too much time on that because we're going to talk about the big things happening in 2024 and the big things that happened in 2023. Okay. But let's look at the market where we're at. Now this is kind of boring, right? You hear the words affidavits of value and you go, right? But I'm telling you, we're going to hit it quick and we're going to go over the general synopsis. And look what it says. There were 5,007 closed transactions, down 13% in December of 2022, but up 2.5% from November. So November was pretty darn slow. What does that mean? Okay, let's look at this. Sales counts were weak again in December because they were, with resales even lower than November, which is unusual. Okay. Prices, however, here we go, were monetarily higher than a year ago for resales and the market as a whole, but the new home median was lower than last year, mainly because the typical new homes is smaller than it was in 2022. These numbers are for single family and townhome and condos, guys. So what does that mean? What we're saying right here is that prices, guys, prices are up. Prices are up. Now, for the whole year of 2023, mortgage rates were not favorable. I think we can all agree on that. They were in, excuse me, the high sixes, sevens point something, even into 8% the entire year. Okay. Yet prices in Phoenix from last year at this time until today are up. So if the market is that resilient when interest rates are not favorable, if they start to come down in 2024, and I think they were, I'm going to show you some more data today as to why that probably is the case, then what's the market, the housing market, going to do in terms of supply and demand when that happens? I think it's kind of writing on the wall, if you will, right? So I do think that you get the best deal in buying real estate when you don't have to compete against someone else. Let me repeat that. I think you get the best deal in real estate when you don't have to compete against someone else, even superseding potentially what the rate is. Because once you own and control the asset, you can potentially then refinance at some point if market conditions become more favorable for you. But when you have to compete, like in 2021, for every single piece of property you may want to buy, you're going to pay a price that you probably don't really want to pay. You're going to get terms on the offer that you probably don't want to have that are not in your favor, but you have to do what you got to do just to get the property. So there is an opportunity still right now, guys, to buy and buy well, even though rates, excuse me, might be high and prices are still quote unquote high based upon what we're used to. But I'm telling you right now, guys, we've set a new norm. I've heard multiple podcasts from economists, boring stuff, right, from economists that state the same. Housing market economists from Redfin, okay, from Zillow, from Trulia, from Realtor, from NAR, and the list goes on, that all concur that we're at a new norm and it's prices are going to most likely, unless something really weird happens, stay up. So now how do you get affordability down? Well, hopefully rates come down eventually at some point, to an extent, which they will. So we'll see what happens here. But if you have any comments on that or this topic in general, please let us know. Let me know. If you disagree with me, let me know. I would love to know what you think, because certainly my crystal ball is not perfect. And there's a conversation to be had there. But we're just working off of data, not emotions, not drama, when trying to decipher how to best set ourselves up for this year of 2024. Now, if I share my screen again here, guys, and go back to the screen, prices are up, demand is still down, but so is supply. Now look at this. Here's the breakdown for the top 17 suburbs of the Phoenix area. And you have a lot of green, guys. Just a week or two ago, this was pretty much all red. We had one or maybe 2 to 3 green arrows going up. We now have a lot of green on the board. This is interesting, and we've only just scratched the surface of January. So look at this, guys. And look at Fountain Hills up 20% on the CMI, Cromford Market Index, right? Remember, between 90 and 110 is a balanced market. So these are all above 110, 1 through 9. Okay. Then you have a balanced market from Peoria, Goodyear, Surprise, Paradise Valley, and that's it. And then Cave Creek right now, which is kind of interesting. Cave Creek, I anticipate Cave Creek having a little bit of a run here because it's more of a seasonal market from January through April. But you have Queen Creek, Cave Creek, Buckeye, Maricopa, all in a buyer's market. Interesting, right? Okay, and this recounts a lot of that. Now, if we go to December here really fast, you can see there was a little bit less green, but almost kind of the same. So green is across the board, and it's dominated by these same cities, right? 8 out of 17 cities now are sellers markets. We have 5 cities that are balanced and 4 that are buyer's market, very close to what it is kind of today. All right, so now let's go over to what I love, the Phoenix Business Journal, and let's talk about a year in review. All right, this will be interesting, guys. Let's talk about a year in review. Matter of fact, I'm going to start here. Let's go with the top stories, business stories in Phoenix, right? Now, they track the readership of these, hundreds and thousands of articles they write throughout the year. And we're going to talk about the top ones because that's ones you probably should know about, because that's what people are most interested in. So that's what we're going to talk about here on Everything Phoenix YouTube Live. There's the amazing VAI resort that is going on right out there in the Westgate, Glendale area by where the Arizona Cardinals play football. and it's going to be spectacular along with the BIA resort. BAI, excuse me, resort. You're going to have the Mattel Adventure Park. That's right. Mattel, the toy manufacturer, is coming out with a amusement park. We're going to have several roller coasters, which Phoenix is in dire need of. Guys, I never understood why Phoenix doesn't have a Six Flags or something like that, because you can literally operate the park year round. There's no winter, there's no snow. And in the summertime, it's blazing hot, yes, but you can still operate all the machines, I would assume. So you can still go out there for the people who are bold and brave, right? And are staying hydrated and wearing that sunscreen and still get the rides in. So it's interesting. And I think Mattel is very smart for doing this. And it's going to be a big hit. That's scheduled to open in 2024. But let's talk about these top 10 stories. Here we go. We're going to start with number 10. $18 million water slide project opens at JW Marriott in Desert Ridge Resort. Guys, Desert Ridge is located in North Phoenix on the Scottsdale border. And look at that. That is beautiful. Lazy River. You have the golf course. You have these water slides. That is pretty cool. Great place, by the way, for a staycation. Definitely remember that in the summertime. Okay. And they give a lot of incentives. All right, here we go. And number 9, Valley to see experiential retail projects come to life in coming years. And we're talking about the VAI Resort and the Mattel Adventure Park. But you can see that you're talking 100,000 square feet of new retail right there alone. And you have the Sydney and the Cannon Beach, which is in a surfing, right? A surf park, right? But you're not the ocean, so it's pretty cool, right? That kind of thing. And then you have what else? Vietnamese electric vehicle survives Arizona heat, but navigating U.S. market will be tougher. So VinFast is a new electric manufacturer of automobiles, Vietnam company, and it is looking to make strides in the U.S. and they testing their cars in Arizona. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. More to come on that. Here we go. Major retailers, new restaurants coming to Loop 303 corridor, guys, up in Surprise, Northwest Valley. You have a lot more stuff coming there now. So Surprise is going to explode, continue to explode with all the development with retail and commercial activity coming to that area of the valley. And you have down here in Florence, okay, down now in the Southeast Valley, Scottsdale developer rolls out plans for a $3.6 billion master plan community by Merrill Ranch in Florence, okay? About an hour southeast drive of Phoenix, and you're probably talking about an hour and a half drive from Scottsdale. So this is going to include 12,000 homes as well as commercial space and retail. This is very smart, in my opinion. They're setting themselves up for the silver tsunami that just wants the warm weather and to retire, okay? Target, Kohl's, and more confirmed for fast-growing retail center in Surprise. So again, Surprise, you heard it again. This is the second top 10 article, right, for Surprise. So what should that tell you? That is going to continue to explode up there. But Target Corp and Kohl's are spending a bunch of money up there off the Loop 303, which has just all kinds of room, guys, and land to build things. Portillo's hot dog, Portillo's hot dog out of Chicago. They already have one in Scottsdale. They're bringing one to Surprise. And you have all kinds of stuff, Torchy Tacos, Boot Barn, Einstein Bagels, et cetera, et cetera. And number 4, longtime luxury pool builder creates new valley business to address affordability. This is smart by Dane Palmero with Overflow Pool Construction. Remember that name, guys. Why? Because they are making pools, once again, affordable. Simply Fun Pools, that brings cost down to $29,000, guys. That is cheap. Did you guys know that the average cost right now for a pool to start out is about $45,000 in the Phoenix area, and it goes up easily from there based upon hard decking, based upon your water feature, based upon depth of the pool, and all kinds of stuff like that. Baja shelves, spas, etc. So $29,000 is a bargain for a pool for a house in Arizona. And believe me, in Arizona, you want a pool. You want a pool. Okay. Look at this house. There's a couple of these 2-valley luxury home specs in Mummy Mountain listed for nearly $50 million. So if you're looking for a beautiful home on the side of a mountain with astounding views, give me a call. I'd be happy to help you in purchasing that property because it's beautiful. There's a lot that goes into it with the hillside lot community and all kinds of stuff in Paradise Valley. So let me know if you have any questions on that. Our team members or myself will be happy to help you out with that. Okay, Scottsdale Resort ranked by U.S. News as second best hotel in the country. This is number 2, guys. This is Phoenician. Phoenician is beautiful. If you are coming out to stay, it is the top resort, number 2 in the country, and it's therefore the top 1 in the state, in the Phoenix area. So if you're looking for a luxury experience with a resort, that is one to absolutely consider. Again, the Phoenician here at the Phoenix Scottsdale border. Okay. Then you have the Four Seasons Resort in True North, which is outstanding as well. So keep those in mind. Number one, guys, this is kind of weird, I thought, but number one, this got a lot of traction. Toy maker Funko, like Funko Pop, right? My kids, they have some Funko Pops in their rooms as I speak today. But they shut down a bunch of manufacturing plants in Washington and consolidated them and brought them all to Phoenix, Buckeye, really. And they rented a 10-year deal on this property, and they brought 300 jobs down to Phoenix for their business logistics. But here's the deal: in the summer, Funko told federal regulators it laid off between 180 and 200 workers, so that's not good. But they're committed to a 10-year lease, so we'll see how that works out. Those are the top 10 articles, believe it or not, business articles for Phoenix in 2023. Now, let's hit this really fast. This is the year in review, the top opinion articles for 2023. Let's check this out really fast, guys. We're going to touch on this. Here we go. Arizona's water supply is top of mind. A visit to Horseshoe Lake is in order. Okay. Why Arizona politicians need to step up to fix housing affordability. That's a big one. Okay. What are they doing for that? There's an article. I can send you some of these articles if you like, guys. Just go ahead and DM me and I can send these to you for you to read the whole thing. Okay. Lori, what's going on? Where can I get a list of homes for sale and surprise? Well, you've come to the right spot. We'd be happy to send you a list. DM me and I'll get that list out to your email or phone, right? Via text, your choice. And we'll get that list right over to you. Give me some more criteria and I can really narrow that down for you as well, which is pretty cool. But thanks for commenting on that. Next, I'm a successful entrepreneur. Congress should let me hire more immigrant workers. Okay. And then gives an example of this lady who owns a successful wholesale retail fish business in Arizona, importing fish caught off the coast of Sonora, which is down in Mexico. She highlights her own immigration struggles as she overcame to become a successful business owner. And she urges Congress to adopt a new kind of worker permit program for people who come to the state. So that's another article. Governor Hobbs' water policy really means for Arizona development. Guys, this is interesting. Okay. Hobbs' decision to institute a pause in the summertime on proposed residential developments within the Phoenix metro was blown totally out of proportion by some interest groups, considering it didn't affect zero, guys, zero of the 80,000 lots under development at the time it was instituted. Zero out of 80,000. Roughly once a week, ever since the pause, the Business Journal has written stories on even more lots in the valley that will eventually contain new single-family houses because they are being built in areas that have assured water supply certificates. Okay. Now, let me just pause because that water is a big one. I won't spend a whole lot of time on it because you hear about me talk about it all the time because it's a topic that now I feel we have to be a myth buster on. Remember that old show Mythbusters on Discovery Channel? Yeah. Well, that's what we're going to do for this next 30 seconds to 60 seconds. Guys, assured water certificates, okay? Every suburb in Phoenix has one for 100 years. That means today, for 100 years from today, there is assured water from the ground water supply for this city I'm in and every city in Phoenix that has this, okay? Which is all of them except for two. And we'll cover that in a second. Tomorrow will be another rolling 100 years. The next week, another rolling 100 years, and so on and so forth until that's taken away. There's plenty of water under the ground, let alone coming more and more and more every single day from the surface that needs to be stored in aquifers because it's more than what we currently need at the current time, which is great, okay? Which is great. There are two, Queen Creek and Buckeye are the two cities that don't have the 100-year certificate of water supply. However, I think 92% of Queen Creek is covered under that certificate. They just don't have it for the whole city. And Buckeye has a large portion as well. But because there was a huge development going on in the middle of nowhere, Buckeye, Arizona, on the West Valley, that had water underneath the ground, but didn't have the rights to it. So now how they will get it there became a contractual, political, negotiating experience, right, or experiment, however you want to put it. This governor got nervous, I guess, apparently, and she put this moratorium on these assured water certificates for guaranteed water to these subdivisions. But it did not affect one of 80,000 lots that were currently under construction, nor does it affect any of them that are currently under construction in every other suburb that has this assured water certificate. Okay, so just want to make sure we hit that and drill it home that right now there is no water issue in Arizona, and there won't be for a long decades and decades and decades, literally a century. Now that could change. Tomorrow they can say, oh, we're going to stop issuing this 100-year water certificate, and therefore starting tomorrow we're now on the clock until something changes. But that hasn't happened. And right now, there's nothing in the works that says or makes people and government officials think it's going to happen. So I just want to be very clear on that. Okay, back to the articles here. It is time that we embrace all pathways to Arizona's jobs of the future. The workforce development is one of the most popular topics chosen by my View contributors. Okay, how we get more tech savvy and qualified people to work the jobs that we have here coming or currently have in Arizona. Okay, which are, by the way, are good paying jobs coming this way. Speaking of which, can we replicate the Taiwan miracle in Arizona at the TSMC factory? Okay, that's coming in. I mean, that's just such a big project, such a good project for Arizona, to be the Silicon Valley of the Southwest, right? Government opposition to TikTok would hamper minority-owned businesses. Okay, they're saying that obviously if the government took away TikTok access, there are a lot of business owners that actually use TikTok to get business and sell their products. So it could potentially hurt some of those business owners. Okay, regional approach could boost Arizona's reliability, create new tech jobs. They wrote a column about that. Obviously, that's okay. And then next thing, how parenting motherhood shapes exceptional business leadership. Staffing firm wrote this thing about how skills of parenthood can actually translate back into the development of mothers' careers. Okay, that's interesting, right? That's 2023 for the most read or popular opinion columns. Now, let's look at the prediction. This is what y'all came here for, right? The predictions for 2024. Let me get the crystal ball out. If I had a bald head, I'd rub it, but I don't. And we're going to go over the 5 predictions of the 2024 real estate market, okay? According to the lovely Phoenix Business Journal, which is a very reliable source. And again, pretty much non-biased for the most part. I guess everyone's biased to an extent, I'm sure. But because you pay them, I pay them, and I get this information to you guys, they can just kind of say what they want because I'm gonna keep paying them, right? So hopefully they're just giving us the facts. That's the idea here, right? And that's what I found to be true the vast majority of the time, if not all the time. All right, here we go. Prediction number 1. Now this is interesting. Okay, here we go. Commercial real estate debt will take center stage as the financial market remains shaky. Now look at the stats. This is interesting. Here we go. By the numbers. In 2024, an estimated $182 billion is expected to mature among major commercial real estate property types, according to Moody's Analytics. Among that, an expected $47 billion is forecasted to mature in the office loan world, the property type where the most distress is expected to be. That's not a good combination. In fact, Moody's found 68% of office commercial mortgage-backed security loans examined were not paid off this year. It forecasts 76 of those associated with office properties maturing next year at a high risk of not being able to be refinanced. That's not good. Why? Because rates are high. Okay, so now let's just think about this for a second. This is prediction number 1. We know the numbers. We know the stats. In an election year, the powers that be allow $182 billion to mature, of which a large portion of that will not be able to refinance or potentially be paid? Just think about that for a second. My guess is probably not. And if that's the case, what's the one thing that could happen to help a lot of these notes that are coming due to not default? Lower the ability to lower the rates, increase the ability to get a lower rate on a refinance to be able to continue to pay the outstanding debt, or potentially restructure the loan to where there is a modification in which maybe they bring down arbitrarily bring down the payment, for a year or two and tack onto the back end. That hurts potentially the borrower, the institution that's lending the money potentially. So the easiest thing across the board is to get rates down lower. One more reason why it looks like that, by the way, has nothing to do with the 30-year fixed mortgage in residential real estate. Nothing to do. But it has everything to do with the same type of problem because it's all connected. Commercial estate, residential estate, debt markets, equity markets, all connected in this global market we're currently in, right? Very interesting. Number 2, the housing market will loosen, but many patterns in 2023 will remain. Okay, so now we're talking about more of the residential market. Here we go. Expect a for-sale housing market next year that's a little easier than this year's was, but there won't likely be a significant shift from current conditions. Interesting. Okay. The key holdup is about two-thirds of current homeowners have a mortgage rate of 4% or less. We know this because we talked about this on this show many times, creating what have the mortgage lock-in effect. With mortgage rates much higher now, it becomes much more expensive to purchase a home, prompting many current homeowners to stay in place. Okay. Mortgage predictions. Redfin anticipates a 30-year fixed rate mortgage will fall to 6.6% by the end of the year. And NAR says 6.3, and Realtor.com says 6.5. And most say about 6.8. But this is interesting because look over here, guys. We're already at 6.74. What are these people looking at? I don't know. I should maybe look at being an economist. Maybe I know something they don't. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. Trust me. I don't. I don't. They're way smarter than me. But I'm just kind of these common sense kind of dudes that puts, 1 + 1 = 2. And I don't know. We're already at 6.74. And I know it could go back up before it goes back down. I get it. But when you look at prediction number 1 and combine it with prediction number 2, and we're already kind of there at that number, 6.74, right? You don't have to go very much further to get to 6.6 or 6.4, right? So that's interesting, right? Okay. In Phoenix, new home sales continue to hold strong, buckling a national slowdown in activity. Phoenix is building a ton of new homes, with home builders there and elsewhere frequently offering concessions like mortgage rate buydowns to make purchasing a home more enticing and affordable. Okay. But there are real questions about how long builders will be able to offer those types of incentives. I think they'll be able to offer them for a while, honestly, my opinion. Why? Because they'll find a capital investor that will give them, if they buy enough volume, $100 million line of credit, let's say, at a certain rate, they'll give them a 5% rate on that because that's a guaranteed rate they can pay out to a segment, say the teacher's pension program or something, right? That needs that guaranteed stream of income because they're guaranteed it, right? In retirement. And so they'll be happy to offer Toll Brothers or Pulte or D.R. Horton that huge line of credit at that rate, at which they can then offer a lower rate than what the market's producing to these home buyers when they're going to buy a newly constructed home. Why? Because the builder can do it because they have an inside or internal mortgage division, and they can pay Paul, they can steal from Paul to pay Peter, right? Or pay Peter to pay Paul, whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? So they can take from the mortgage to, or take from the housing division to pay the mortgage, and vice versa, because it's all rolls up under one roof, and the stock still performs, and the shareholders are happy, and yada yada yada, as long as the overall conglomerate is profitable. Okay, number 3, Fed's signal of cutting interest rates will unlock some commercial real estate deal activity. That's interesting. Okay. All right, deal volume is frozen. We know that by the numbers. Investment volume was down 42% in 2023 from the prior year. 42%. Now, we have a small commercial division within our team, and they were down as well this year. Not 42%, but in the 20 percentile somewhere. I know that. And so this is a real thing. Okay. 2 levers economists and investors are watching on what the Fed does with interest rates next year and the 10-year Treasury yield. Okay. But many are quick to note there remain a number of other factors weighing on deal activity, including pricing expectations between buyers and sellers. This is very true. And so we'll see what it says. But that being said, here you go. There's a lot of capital on the sidelines. There is a lot of money out there, guys. Trust me. Eager to be put to work. That'll likely increasingly go toward distressed deals in 2024. So that will help the capital markets overall. But guys, here's the deal. And listen to me closely. This is all great. But people with capital still want what? They want a deal. They're not going to take their capital off the sidelines unless they themselves get what they perceive as a deal. So just because there's capital on the sidelines doesn't mean it's going to be injected into the economy unless there's a deal to be had, which means it's even more pressure on the federal government and the Fed to bring the rates down, right? It's just, again, 2 + 2. 2 + 2 = 4 here, right? I'm trying to connect the dots to predict this as accurately as possible, okay? Here we go. Prediction number 4, cities will refine policies and strategies to reuse offices and revive downtowns. Now, this is an interesting one, and this makes the most practical sense. Why? Because we know affordability is a problem in most major cities across America. Here's a building right here in Boston, Massachusetts, that is being targeted for conversion from office to housing, okay? Now, if there's an affordability issue that's happening, then what better way to take an existing building that's already ready to go that needs to maybe have some modifications inside of it to turn it into multifamily, apartments, condos, etc. It's already in a great area of town, ideally, like in the downtown area, convenient to multiple different things, and the structure's already there. But the cities have to allow the rezoning to happen, and that's where a lot of red tape and bureaucracy gets in the way in certain cities across America. But wouldn't that be an easier transition potentially than having to take down a big parcel of land and build a big, huge complex or a high rise condo community? Potentially, and arguably, the answer would be yes. But how does that play out in the long term planning of that specific city? That's what these people are trying to figure out. So this is interesting. Now the federal government's starting to give incentives, if you guys didn't know, for cities to start allowing zoning modifications to allow this to happen for affordable housing to take place. But here's the deal: you're still living in an apartment, and arguably, like this building, an apartment with no balcony. You don't even have the ability to go outside at all unless you go to the very bottom and walk out. And so, how many people want to do that? I don't know. Remains to be seen. But would be nice. What we really need is, like I said, some affordable housing with what call it attached homes, called patio homes, called single family homes that have some sort of yard, enclosed yard. It could be a small yard, but a lot of people like to have pets and dogs, and it's just easy to have your own little space somewhere on your property. So that's what we really need, in my opinion, too. But this is a start. I think this is a start. Okay. Um, and number five, apartment sector will slow, rents will soften in high supply markets. I think this is inevitable, right? For rent sector is ending 2023 with signs of slowing. That's not great, right? Especially in high growth states and Sunbelt markets because of oversupply. The slowdown is expected to continue in 2024 with more than 461,000 units scheduled to be completed by the end of this year in 2024, right? And that's going to grow to 670,000 units. Okay, so that's a lot of units, which again, we have a lack of supply. So this is good. We need some of that. But again, some markets are overbuilt. Okay. And right now, those markets, I'm glad you asked, here they are. Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Florida, Austin, Round Rock, Texas, and Sarasota, Braden, Florida are the markets that have added more than 20% of the apartment inventory in the past 5 years. That's a lot, guys. It's going to be tough, this person says, in this environment where there's so many lease ups competing for the same renting pool. Okay. And Nashville's another one, guys. Check this out. 11,500 new units added to the Nashville, Tennessee apartment market, leading to the city's highest multifamily vacancy rate in 20 years, guys. And everyone loves them some Nashville. Trust me. But even they maybe have built a little too fast, too quickly, right? So it'll be interesting to see. But here we go. I love this, guys. Before we go, top 5 real estate stories in 2023. Before we go, just really quick hitters. Here we go. Lawsuits over real estate commissions. This is interesting, guys. If you haven't been following this is a long, long story. But my goodness, this is it. A lot of it doesn't make sense, but a lot of it, I guess, does. It just depends on what side of the fence you are on. The reality is that a lawsuit was filed on behalf of some homeowners as a class action lawsuit, and the major real estate brokerages and NAR were all lost the lawsuit, stating that they had to pay damages. The damages were because apparently it's a conspiracy theory in which if someone wants to sell their house with a broker, they have to put some sort of compensation into the multiple listing service, and they shouldn't be forced to do that. Although all the multiple listing services across the country, at least most of them, do require that. That is true. They only require $1 to put in there, but yet no one puts $1 in. Why? Because they know ultimately the $1 is not going to incentivize all the other agents out there that have clients, and the clients like them, they like them, they like the clients to bring those people to those properties. So it's very I could do a whole YouTube live on just this right here. So I'll stop right there. But it's very interesting to see how that will continue to play out because it's still ongoing. Appeals process and yada yada yada. Right? It's a lawsuit, so you know how that works. Office landlords under pressure. We've seen a number of towers get watch listed by loan services. Okay, in terms of landlords with office buildings because the vacancy rate is going up, 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 up. Okay. Debate over housing policy. Cities across America, we just talked about this, are re-examining their zoning and land use policies to allow for greater diversity of housing types. Okay. Not just single family, not just apartments, whatever it may be, a mixture of all kinds of different stuff to bring about affordable housing. WeWork, like a Regis, WeWork files Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They took on way too many office spaces to try to then do the temporary office and co-op working space, right? And they now are filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy because they just don't have the demand to fill their spaces that they took long leases out on. So that's interesting to see what happened with the office space. Last but not least, mortgage rates and inventory lock up the housing market. We know about that. But homeowners who locked in a sub 3% mortgage rate during the COVID-19 pandemic stayed in place, while mortgage rate acceleration this year sidelined both potential buyer and sellers. Home builders leverage an advantage in the market this year by offering concessions or mortgage rate buy downs. Guys, I have more to cover on this, but I'm going to stop it right there. You guys know the mark. You know what? I'm going to stop it right there. But let me just say one more thing, if I can get this. You know what? I won't even bring that up because we're just going to talk to the camera here for 20 seconds. Did you know that tonight, is the national championship for college football? I'm a big college football fan, guys. My team's not doing so hot, but we have Washington versus Michigan tonight, and it'll be a good one, guys. Who do you think is going to win the game? Comment below. Put your predictions in the chat, right? Michigan or Washington, who do you got? Who's going to win? It'll be a good one. I can't wait for the matchup tonight because I'm a big football fan and a big college football fan. So, guys, thank you, as always, for watching our YouTube Live. I hope you got value out of this. If not, go back and watch the replay. It'll be posted on our channel immediately upon us being done here. And let me know what you think. But if I'm a common sense person, and I know everyone that watches this show is a common sense person, and you say, what's 2 plus 2? Yeah, it equals 4. And if that's true, some of these things that are happening that we know are on the horizon in terms of true facts and data, they would tell you that it's highly likely that there's one solution that's probably going to happen in 2024, and probably earlier than most people think. It's probably going to be bringing rates down. Now, to where, who knows? Is it a half point? Is it 2 points? Who knows by the time it's all said and done in 2024? But it's going to probably come down and come down sooner than most people think. So until that happens, because there's a lot of pent-up demand, you have a buying opportunity. When that happens, guys, I think you're going to see a lot of people jump in. We're already seeing that green on the board, right? The Crawford report, a lot of green on the board because people already start to jump off the sidelines already in Phoenix, at least because it's a seasonal market. But by the time you get to March or April across the country, what will it be like when it starts thawing out and warming up? Interesting to see. Follow us. We're here every Monday for your education and enjoyment at 12:30. Grab your lunch. Come watch us. Come join us. And let's have some fun learning more and more about Phoenix, Arizona. Until next time, Phoenix, keep it classy.